Hi everyone, my name's Abigail and welcome to my kitchen. This is my favorite room in my apartment, mainly because I get to do my two favorite things, which is eat and cook. And when I first got an apartment, I really wanted to explore my cooking skills, so I started to cook with fresh herbs. And they just made my dishes more flavorful, but they also put a nice little dent in my wallet and made my cooking a lot more expensive. This habit was starting to be a problem. So I decided to start an herb garden, but there was a couple of barriers in my way to doing something like this. I didn't have a lot of money up front to start an herb garden. I didn't want to spend a ton of money on buying a pot. I wasn't sure about soil. I didn't know where I would even get herbs. And secondly, I wasn't sure if I would have the time to take care of these plants. I didn't want to buy something only to have them die 2 weeks later. So I was worried about if I would remember to water them. Maybe I leave for winter break for a month and I come back and all my plants are dead because they haven't been watered in over a month. So this was kind of a concern of mine. Well, then I came across this really awesome planter that I could make my herb garden out of, and it was super easy. It was super cheap, and it has two parts to it. It has a soil basin right here, which is where the plant sits in, and then it has a water basin, which we just fill up with water. And then the cool part about it is you have this string right here, which feeds into the soil basin that allows it to be watered while I'm not there. And you only have to fill the water basin up every 3 months or so. So this kind of solved my problem of money and time. And I hope that you also feel encouraged to do so after watching this training video. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for listening. So all you have to do is have a 2-liter bottle, a plant that you want to start with, some string, and some potting soil. And there are lots of easy ways that you can make this cut down. I spent $2.50 at Meijer for this plant, and I spent $5 at Meijer also for this potting mix. If you don't even have the $5 to spare on the potting mix, which is totally fine, you can always just go outside and grab some soil. So we're gonna start with our plastic bottle, and we're gonna make the apparatus first. So what you wanna do is you wanna first cut off the label. And I also wanna say that I cleaned this plant, or I rinsed this bottle out beforehand. I'm all for extra fertilizer for my plants. I just don't think Coca-Cola is the best fertilizer. So I cleaned them out beforehand. So now my label is off, and now I'm gonna take my cap off because I wanna start making the actual, I have to cut my bottle into 2 parts so that way I have the top and the bottom. So I would say I would want to cut it at about halfway, maybe a little less than that. I'm probably going to do, I don't know if you can see, there's like a little line right here. I'm probably going to do this line. So you just kind of fold your bottle in half, just a piece of it, and you start cutting at that line. And once you've made your first cut, actually, you can just do it a little simpler by just making that cut and then sticking your scissors in. And boom, I have my 2 parts. Easy peasy, ready to go. So now we're gonna make, in my opinion, the most important part of this really awesome planter is the self-watering part, right? We wanna make the string right here that will water itself. So that way we don't have to come back during winter break and make sure our plants are still alive. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your cap and you wanna make a hole right in the middle right here. Now you can make this hole in a lot of ways. I use a hammer and nails because I have one lying around. But if you don't, you can use a pen that you don't like very much because you might break it. And then any kind of can. So I had a can of black beans lying around. So you're gonna align your pen so it's right in the middle of the cap right here. You're gonna align it so it's sitting in the middle. You're gonna take your can and you're just gonna whack it until you make a nice little hole in it. So after you've made your initial hole, if you need to make it bigger to fit your string through, you can always just take your scissors and kind of wedge it in and keep twisting with your scissors and just kind of use the table as leverage. So I've twisted around so my cap lid is much bigger now. So if you can kind of see this hole right here, there's a nice little hole in the center. So now we want to use our string. So you can use yarn, you can use twine, you can use, I'm using this really cool nylon thread that I picked up because I really like the colors of it. But I actually just got this twine wrapped around a present for my birthday. So you could definitely use something like this. If you had just ribbon lying around from maybe wrapping presents, you could use that too. So you don't even have to buy anything for something like this. So we want to decide how long we need our string to be. So you're going to take your basin, which is the bottom part of your bottle, and you're going to measure your string from the bottom of your basin to the top. And so that would be about here. So what you're going to do is I would go maybe a little bit higher than that, maybe 1 inch or so. And that's where I'm going to cut. So I'm going to take my scissors and very carefully cut my string. So I have it right here. So now I'm going to take my string and I'm going to weave it through my bottle cap. And now I have it ready to go. Now I want to make sure it's secure and in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it so that the top of the bottle cap, where it would be right where it would sit on top like this, you're going to invert that because that's how it's going to sit right here. And you're going to make a knot on the inside of the bottle cap with the string. So that way you have about maybe 1/3 on top and 1/3 on bottom. So as you can see, here's the top of your bottle cap, here's the inside, your knot is sitting right on top. So that way when you pull down, it can't go anywhere. So now all we have left to do, because we have our cap with our watering apparatus, we have our water basin, and we have our planter basin, we can now assemble it. So I'm just going to take the string and sit it inside, tie the cap on nice and tight, and then I'm just going to sit it on there. And there we go. And there we go. My basin, or my planter, is ready to go. So now I'm going to start planting it. And all you need is your plant. I have this really nice mint plant, spearmint plant. Yummy. And soil. And like I said, you can get this from outside or you can buy potter's mix. Personally, I'm a plant mama, so I don't mind spending $5 on some potting mix. And then all you need is a bowl and some water. I'm going to start with grabbing maybe 2 to 3 cups of soil. And because I bought my mix from the store, I'm going to add just a little bit of water. I think it's a little dry, and so you want your potting mix, even if you get it from outside, you want it wet enough that it feels wet, but you don't want it so wet that when you squeeze it, you're dripping water out of it. That's much too moist. Okay, and you're going to take the top part of your planter right here, and you're just going to take a nice handful, a healthy handful, and you're going to put it in. Okay, so now you're going to take your plant and you're just going to stick it in the planter right here. And now all that's left to do is fill it in with the soil.
I'm gonna tell you all about the plants, all of the pots and how they grow. Now just sit right down and enjoy the song. Your lesson starts right now, and here we go.
Okay, and now that my plant is planted, all I have left is to fill up my water, so I don't have to fill up my water basin at the bottom here, so I don't have to water it for another 3 months. So I'm just gonna fill it up, probably about 1 inch or so of water, just so it has enough, but it's also not sitting, the cap isn't completely submerged. That's it. You now have your planter that you don't have to water for 3 months, and if you use soil from outside, all you did was buy the plant for $2.50. And so it's just a super cheap way to get your herb garden started. And I'm a very happy plant mama because now I have a complete herb garden. Thanks for listening.